Hey everyone, welcome to week 5. Good to see you all on the video, and nice to start connecting to some of you who are in my other class in person. And so this week is a little bit busy, so make sure you get started on this assignment right away. So for week 5, you're going to be building on what we learned last week with the misconceptions and just how hard it might be to overcome students' ideas that they already have about a particular content area. So this week you're going to be looking at actually choosing one of those probes, and you're going to administer that to 3 people at minimum. These can be family members, these can be students. Maybe if you are working in a classroom, you could pick a few students. If you have nieces, nephews, it could actually be your roommates, your friends, your siblings. So just 3 people. You're going to want to pick a probe that would be appropriate. So if you're picking adults, you're probably going to want to pick one of the more challenging probes to give them so that you definitely can identify some misconceptions. So if you give your probe to your participants and there are no identified misconceptions, then you have to start over and you have to pick a different probe and maybe some different participants. So try to find one that you think will be challenging for your participants. So pick your probe, pick your 3 or more participants. You're going to actually give them the probe, so give them a written copy of it, whether that's handing it to them or you can send it to them electronically and have them complete it. But you're going to collect those written copies because you're going to submit those with your assignment this week. So once you have their assignment, you have the probes back, you're going to look at them to identify any preconceptions, misconceptions that they have about the content that you will need to address and confront. So you're going to design an activity that will help them to address any misconceptions. You're going to use in the assignment, if you click on the assignment in Canvas, there are step-by-step instructions. There's also a lesson plan template that shows you exactly what to do. So here is what you're going to fill out this week. So identify your participants. What is the topic of your misconceptions probe? If you can find a standard, an NGSS standard that aligns with it, include it. What is the research report on this on the common misconceptions? So once you've picked a probe, you can use both. So the Page-Keeley probes actually identify some of the misconceptions in the literature that is included. But also you can go online for many of these. For instance, if you wanted to do the moon phases, you could Google, so what are the common misconceptions about the moon phases, and you would find information on that. So include that here. Here's where you attach or include a copy of your probe. Explain the results that your participants had. So this is where you look at the written results you have and identify what they did understand, what they might not have understood. Here's where you design an activity. Now this has to be like a 15-minute activity or so, hands-on. You can't just like, okay, I'm going to tell them, how they were wrong and what is right, because as we've seen from the videos, that doesn't really help people revise their understanding. So you have to pick like a hands-on modeling activity that you can show them or do with them that will help them to understand the concepts. So here's where you describe that, and you will, just FYI, you will get points deducted from this assignment if you say, well, I just described to them, or I told them, or I just had them watch a video or something. So you really need to concentrate on creating an activity that's hands-on that will help them to learn more about the topic. So then you're going to actually teach it to them, and then you're going to give them the probe a second time and have them write out their answers, and then you're going to collect those. And then you're going to evaluate those and write your results here. So did they learn something? Did they change their ideas about the concepts? So you're going to turn in this paper, this template, and you're also going to turn in 2 sets of responses. So your pre and post probe student work. So that is what you turn in for this assignment. So this one's going to take a little bit of time, so make sure you get started on this early. Don't wait obviously until midnight the night before it's due, because you won't be able to get through the both the giving it to him initially, teaching it, and giving it to him again. So that's the main assignment for this week. The other assignment that you're going to be looking at is you're going to be starting to think about choosing a project learning tree activity to teach to elementary, middle students. And you're going to work with your, what we're going to start using is our PLC groups to plan this first one. So in week 5, you will see in the Google Drive, you will see here there's a PLC group sign up. So you have been assigned to a PLC group already, and these are generally by grade level. So if you completed the grade level survey in week 2, then I put you in a grade level that you chose. If you did not complete the grade level survey in week 2, then you got assigned randomly to a grade level PLC group. So that is where you're stuck and what you're stuck with for the rest of the term. And so you're going to be working with this group. You will be able to work asynchronously, meaning you will not necessarily have to plan time outside of class to get together. It might be helpful to do that. And you can access anybody's email through the Canvas site. And you can start an email group, a chat group, whatever works if you want to discuss things or work offline. But you can do all of this asynchronously just through Google Docs. So your first thing you're going to do is you're going to go through the project learning tree activities in the book, in your textbook. You're going to try to find an activity that aligns to this standard. So we looked at the standard earlier in the term. This one is construct an argument with evidence that in a particular habitat, some organisms can survive well, some survive less well, and some cannot survive at all. So as you look through the PLT activities, you're going to want to find an activity that addresses like animal or plant adaptation, something that might help them to survive in their environment. Looks at how animals adapt to their environments, habitats, ecosystems. That's the kind of thing you're going to want to look for in terms of the activities you choose. So you're just going to pick one that you think is interesting, and this week you're just going to, in this section of the Google Drive document, you're going to put your choice of activity. Okay? Now, going forward, your group has to then look at all of these, and together somehow you're going to have to pick one to use in your environmental education lesson going forward. But for now, you each, and there's 4 people in each group, you each get to submit one idea for an assignment, for an activity. And maybe you'll find one, you'll have one in common that you picked, or you can just, we'll go forward with that next week. So again, this week, you're just going to pick your own activity and put the title of it in this box. All right, so that is it. So looking at the to-do list this week, you can see this is about picking your probe, administering it, using the template to write up your answers, your activities, your students' answers, and then completing the reflection after you teach it and get their updated responses. And then this describes the choosing the PLT activity and then putting it in the Google Drive. So that's it for this week. Hope you have a good week, and I will see you next week.